We're talking about the two most important questions you need to ask on your college tour. Now, the first question is, what is the teaching load of your full-time faculty? Which I talked about in part one. And it raises some pretty important issues that you need to consider before you decide on a specific school. Today, we're discussing the second question, and the issues it raises will set your hair on fire. So buckle up, because we're blowing right past the locked doors to see what's really going on in the Ivy Tower, here at the College Insider. Okay, so the second question you need to ask on your college tour is just as simple as the first one, but it's way more controversial, and I guarantee you, way less answerable. If ever there's an issue that college administrators don't want you looking at, it's this one. So that's why the second question you need to ask is, what is the percentage of courses taught by the full-time faculty? Now, I guarantee you, even fewer tour guides are going to know the answer to this one, because this is higher education's dirty little secret. Many, if not most of your courses are going to be taught by part-time faculty, some of whom aren't even professors. And the worst part is, you won't even know unless you do some deep digging. Now, before we go further on this, let me be clear. There's nothing wrong with having a part-time professor. Nothing I say here today is a knock against part-time professors, usually referred to as adjunct professors. In fact, I'm here to tell you, most of the time you're better off with a young, inspired part-time professor trying to work their way up the ladder than some old, burned-out full-timer who's taking early retirement by teaching uninspired courses and doing little or no work. So there's never any reason to be de facto concerned or upset when you find out that a specific course that you're taking is being taught by an adjunct. What you do need to be concerned about is when the majority of your courses, or even many of your courses, are being taught by adjuncts, especially in your major. And that's what we're going to take a closer look at, especially in terms of the implications for you and your future career. The best way to look at this is by comparing the old system colleges and universities employed to the nightmare system it has evolved into today. Now, in the past, higher education used to be a closed system. The ivory tower was populated mostly by professors, whose job it was to conduct research and teach students. Those professors were supported by a small number of administrators, deans, presidents, provosts, and their support staff. And usually, the ranks of the administrators came from the faculty itself. Frequently, a really good professor went on to become a dean, and then if they were a really good dean, they'd go on to become a president. The bulk of colleges and universities in those days was made up of professors and former professors. But even under this system, institutions still needed some part-time professors to supplement all their course offerings. In general, adjunct professors were made up of two types: brand new PhDs who were working their way into the system, or professionals with advanced degrees who taught highly specialized courses. For instance, an advanced journalism course in copy editing might hire the copy editor of the local paper if they had a master's degree, or a lawyer might get hired to teach a course in legal theory in any of the academic disciplines. This gave students, in a couple of courses, a glimpse into how their academic major operates in the professional world. It also gave students access to a working professional that they could later network with. But the overall design of the system was to give institutions a way to test out and develop new professors with very low risk to students, that they would have a low quality course. For the most part, students under the old system were educated by full-time professors whose job it was to work closely with students and ensure their intellectual development so they could succeed professionally. And just as importantly, become engaged citizens who could think through the issues of the day. January 6th. And there's an apocryphal story from that era that describes it pretty well. After serving 2 terms as President of the United States, Dwight Eisenhower went on to become President of Columbia University. Nothing wrong with Columbia, obviously, but to go from President of the entire country to President of one university was still a pretty odd choice. Anyway, the story goes that soon after becoming President of the university, Eisenhower wanted to address the full faculty to share his vision for the university. Soon into his speech, however, Eisenhower said, "As employees of the university," and as soon as he did, a prominent faculty member interrupted by saying, "Excuse me, Mr. President, we are not employees of the university. We are the university." I don't know if that particular story is actually true, but what is true is that Eisenhower, as president of Columbia, was the beginning of the end of that system of higher education. And the system that would take its place is the Frankenstein monster version of education. Overly bureaucratized, overly corporatized, and astronomically expensive. Chasing the corporate model of marketplace competitiveness, colleges and universities overbuilt their campuses and continue to overpay their executives. And the way they pay for all that is with an army of adjuncts, a network of part-time faculty replacing full-time professors negatively impacts your education in a lot of different ways. And we're going to unpack all that in the next installment of the College Insider.